So welcome to the Get More Students webinar. This is something that I myself, Alex Asher from LearnCube, and we try and bring together some great experts. And Herbert and I have actually been working together for a long time around this kind of concept of helping tutoring and language companies in particular upskill and kind of learn some great ideas that they can employ around language and tutoring marketing. We also joined with Korinne. So Korinne is, you met her hopefully in last month's webinar, but we actually have that on our YouTube channel, on the LearnCube YouTube channel. So if you missed that, make sure you check that out because Korinne had some fantastic ideas around content marketing. And so anything content marketing, Korinne is your person, and you're gonna learn something great in her particular presentation. So myself, I guess you can consider me your host. Herbert is going to be the person around digital advertising, Korinne on content marketing, but we also have a new special guest today, who is Emma. So Emma Fell is a social media and strategy expert, and particularly when it comes to marketing, and particularly when it comes to education companies. So you are in very good company here. And I'm sure you're going to really enjoy her presentation. That's going to be the feature event of today. So I really want you to feel that you're going to get a lot of value out of today's session. So the order in terms of what we're going to do is Herbert's going to start with a smaller little presentation, one idea that he really wants to get across that can help you with your marketing. Korinne's going to follow, and then we're going to spend the majority of our time with Emma, followed by a Q&A. So without further ado, and lots of drum rolling, let's bring on Herbert.
Wonderful. Well,
oh my God, look,
hi everyone.
Excited.
I wanted to cover a topic that is probably one of our most frequently asked questions by everyone, is kind of defining your niche, or who to target and really what to promote. There is that danger, especially when you start this journey into paid advertising, that you want to promote everything, all the courses that you have available at your school to everyone in the world, especially now things are online. A lot of people think, oh, I can target anyone in any country, but there is a bit of danger in that, and you can lose money very quickly. So we really want to avoid this kind of pay and spray approach where we're targeting everyone for everything, because at the end of the day, if you appeal to everyone, you appeal to no one. So I really wanted to give you some quick ideas on how to really define your niche and where to kind of allocate your advertising dollars, at least at the start, until you find that right formula that works. So one thing, the very first thing is to look at your best sellers. I mean, if you are an established language school or tutoring company, you should know what type of courses or what type of students make up most of your revenue. And that's a pretty good indicator as to what is going to sell then, online in a paid advertising world. Number two is, what is an easy sell for you? Maybe you have built out this program over 10, 15, 20 years, and you know it inside and out. You're the market leader in that. And so you should go and do that. And I wanted to provide you with a couple of examples from our advertising agency clients. And one is French in Normandy, located in Rouen. And again, over the past 10, 15, 20 years, they have really built a reputation for preparing French learners for their French certificate exams called DELF and DALF. So our focus on their paid advertising side of things is to really enter those key markets for them where DELF and DALF is a requirement, or there is huge demand for that. Another example is the English School of Canada, based in Toronto. And of course, they, as any traditional English school has, they have a lot of programs and courses: business English, general English, IELTS, Cambridge exam prep, etc. But our focus is on their pathway programs, because they have a lot of excellent reputed partners, universities and colleges that they partner with for this program. And yeah, this type of program sells very well in key markets such as Latin America, Brazil, and in Eastern Europe. So, that is our focus. So definitely look at your numbers and where most of your courses, the most, what you're selling the most and what type of students make up the most revenue. And that should guide you in terms of what to push in your paid ad campaigns. Another way to look at it is, where do you have a competitive advantage? I know there are a lot of small language schools out there, or even one-person schools and online tutoring companies. And if you are that person, you don't have a lot of resources, you don't have a huge marketing budget, but you have you, and no one can replicate that. And so what I see works really well for one-person businesses is selling the personality. So basically selling yourself, becoming the face of your language school or tutoring company, and creating organic content around that. I'm sure Emma and Korinne have a lot to say about creating organic content. But I've seen these one-person businesses do amazing stuff utilizing new platforms like TikTok or Instagram stories or YouTube videos to really gain a following, and at the end of the day to sell their courses. Maybe you have a unique approach that you use, a methodology that is innovative or unique. Maybe you use a certain technology that a lot of other schools don't have, so you can really push that angle. Or you might have experience in a certain industry or field. Maybe you were an ex-lawyer, and maybe it could be a good step to offer, say, English courses to legal professionals. It would come across as authentic. You could sell your experience, to legal professionals looking to improve their legal English skills. Of course, connections and any kind of unique mixes that you have with a certain language or a certain country. For example, I know of a successful English language school run by a Brazilian. And so he only targets Brazilians or Portuguese speakers living in other countries, whether that be the US, Canada, Australia, in Asia. But because he can speak their native language and he knows their struggles and challenges, specific challenges that they have with learning English, then he really can make that connection with them and speak their language, so to say. Another way is to look closer to home, especially with travel restrictions these days, looking at your local or domestic market to see if you can leverage your already established reputation in your local area. So targeting a specific geographic area, so maybe where you live or the location of your school, plus minus 20, 30 kilometers. And then targeting other people in other cities in your country. Now, this might not work for, say, an English school based in a small town somewhere in Ireland. Obviously, there won't be many foreigners or expats in that town, but you could branch out to maybe other cities or towns in Ireland that have a larger expat or foreigner population. And yeah, that is that example number one here in ESL school in New York, marketing online courses to expats and foreigners in New York City and the surrounding areas. Or it might be example number two in an Italian school in Milan. Maybe they used to get a lot of international students coming in from, say, Western and Eastern Europe for Italian courses. Now they can't travel, and so they focus on marketing to expats and foreigners or people who want to improve their Italian skills already living in Italy, because they can leverage their name as an Italian school. And last but not least is to broaden your horizons. So once you've found a formula that works, maybe one of the last three categories that I mentioned is to then experiment with other markets. Maybe you already have some experience in certain markets, or you have agents in certain markets that you can leverage there. And this can also work for, say, non-native language schools. For example, an English school in Mexico could, market online English classes to Mexicans and Spanish speakers in USA or Canada. And so taking a kind of a step-by-step approach to targeting and not going worldwide at the start is really the way that you can get the most bang out of your buck when spending on digital advertising. And so, yes, that was my very quick presentation, but I know, Alex, is a question that is often asked. And so, yeah, I hope that provided you with some insights and ideas.
I think that's great, Herbert. I mean, it's one of the, while we've talked about this a number of times, I don't think you can hear it too much, mainly because often it's harder to do than to think about. So I really appreciate it, Herbert. Next, we're going to move on to Korinne.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit about hashtags today, and specifically, why do we need them and how do they actually help us to reach our students or our target audience? So let's click in over here. Oh, goodness. All right, I'm going to close this down. All right, so what exactly are hashtags? Now, I'm pretty sure that we're all familiar of what a hashtag, what it looks like, what it is. You can see that there, hashtag example hashtag. But what they actually are is an indication of a topic or category. And what they do is they help to make our content more discoverable, as I just said, how to reach more people. So let's think about what that means in actual terms. So imagine you've created a beautiful post, a great graphic, you've got an amazing caption, but you don't include any hashtags. So you go ahead and let's say you post it to Instagram. Well, who is exactly going to see this post? Well, without the hashtags, the only people that are likely to see that post are the ones that are already following you. So they're the people that you don't necessarily need to, if you're looking to build your audience or if you're looking to reach new people, well, then you're not really getting any closer to that goal when you don't use hashtags. So really, the most important thing with hashtags is that they help us to, get our message as far out as we possibly can. And that is because when people search on social media, and particularly when they search on Instagram, they usually do that by entering a hashtag. So if a parent was to search for a boarding school in Geneva, for example, they pop that into Instagram and then they would be given a list of all the results that are also tagged with that hashtag. So if you're a boarding school in Geneva and you've used that hashtag, then the chances are that you will come up in somewhere within all of those results that they've been presented with. So hashtags help us to be found. Let's have a look here. So hashtag basics. We always want to start with a hashtag. Now that might sound silly to be said, but often you see people who have typed in a word and they've just forgotten to whack that hashtag in front. So always put that in front. Hashtags don't work if you use spaces, punctuations, or symbols, so like a $sign or an ampersand. Emojis are excluded, so they actually do count. If you put that at the end of a hashtag, that still works. You have to set your account to public. Now, this applies across all social media platforms. If you go ahead and hashtag a post on a private account, the hashtags do nothing. Your privacy setting will 100% of the time override anything that the hashtag would usually do. So again, if you're set to private and you hashtag something, you're not getting anywhere. The only people who can see that post are the ones that are already following you. Hashtags should be really short and easy to remember, and they really have to be relevant. That's one of the sort of big rules surrounding hashtags, is that they need to be relevant to either your business, so whether you're a tutor or a school or an agency even, they can be relevant to the post, so either the topic of the post or the theme of some posts, or they need to be relevant to, for example, if it was Friday and you had made a post and you could use the hashtag Friday mood or Friday vibe. This kind of thing is also okay because it's relevant to the season, day, or time. Now, we want to use a mixture of different hashtag types, but I'm going to talk to you about this a little bit more in just a moment, so we'll keep that to the side. And we want to think about the number of hashtags you can use and how to make the most of this. Okay, so different types of hashtags. So there's 4 main types of hashtags. We've got large, medium, niche, and branded. So we're talking niche again, which sort of follows on from what Herbert was mentioning before. When we say large, medium, niche, and branded, we're talking sort of about volume. So when I say large, I mean a hashtag that has a high volume of posts that already carry that hashtag. So generally speaking, this is in the millions. These figures, they're a little bit, it depends a little bit on the industry. For example, in international ed, our definition of medium and large is a bit different than, for example, sports shoes, things like that. You know, for us, if a hashtag had millions, it would be considered, you know, enormous. If it had sort of 100,000, it would still be pretty large for us in international ed. So large volume hashtags, typically they're the more sort of general terms. So an example of that would be education or English. Medium volume, they're a little bit smaller than our large volume, obviously, hashtags. And generally speaking, they're the ones that have sort of hundreds of thousands. They are more specific, not, you know, as specific as say niche, but they are more specific. So we would be talking about, for example, study abroad or hashtag learn English. Niche hashtags are generally lower volume, and they can be anything from, you know, 100 posts to thousands of posts, and they are really very specific. So for example, English school in Leeds, online German tutor, Swiss boarding school, you know, these sorts of things that tell people very clearly what your business or this post or your post is about. And then lastly, the branded hashtags, they're the ones that are related directly to your brand. So it can be your brand name, or it can be any brand identifiers. So I've got a few examples there. We've got Atlantic Galway. So for example, if you were Atlantic language school in Ireland, Atlantic Galway would be a branded hashtag for you. If you were a tutor and your name was Kate, Tutor Kate could be a hashtag, a branded hashtag. Or for example, I know many of us know ICEF, their tagline is Connect, Recruit, Grow. So if we put that as a hashtag, that would also count as a branded hashtag, because you read that and it very clearly identifies ICEF as the brand that's attached to that hashtag. Let's see if I can get this to move. Okay, so how do we find good hashtags? So we know that hashtags help us reach more students. We know that we need to sort of mix them up and use some that have a large following and some that are specific right to our brand. But, you know, where do we find them? The key here is that we need to think like our target audience. It's not what you would search for, it's what the people that you're trying to reach, what they would search for. So if you're trying to reach students, you really do need to stick your student hat on and try and think like a student searching for your school or tutoring business would. You can use the search function. This works on most social media platforms. So again, if you were to use Facebook or Instagram, if you start typing in the search bar, different hashtags will actually come up and it will tell you the search volume of those hashtags. On Instagram, they also have the hashtag search tab. So once you go into the search and you tap on that search field to start typing, you'll actually get a few different options, and tags, short for hashtags, is one of those options. So if you choose that, then you will only see suggested hashtags. Another really good and slightly tricky way of doing it is to check out the hashtags that your competitors are using, and particularly which ones they're using on their most popular posts. Now, we don't want to copy our competitors' contents, but there's no rules about copying hashtags. The idea with hashtags is that, you know, they are to be used multiple times. That's how we get the volume. So take a look, see if your competitors have any similar posts, or, you know, posts on similar topics, or just in general what hashtags are working for them, and then perhaps, you know, try them out on your own posts as well. You can use a hashtag generation program. I personally don't tend to use these programs. They are a bit faster. You might get a bit more sort of detailed information, but personally I find what you can do yourself for free is more than enough. And then the last point, which is really important, is that we need to monitor our own hashtag performance. So once you start using hashtags on your posts, you need to, you know, keep an eye on which ones are working. So which of your posts are getting the most engagement, which of your posts are getting the most shares, the most likes. If you've got a business account, you can actually see how many people in the post analytics, how many people the hashtags have brought in. Really do keep an eye on these, because that will tell you which hashtags or which combination of hashtags are bringing in and reaching the most people. So before, oh, come on. Right, there we go. So before, whoops, now we've gone one too far. So before I wrap this up, I just wanted to give you a few examples of schools that are using a really nice mix of different hashtags. And let me grab my notes just in case those are a bit small. Okay, so on the left-hand side, you'll see Maastricht Summer School. So Maastricht University in the Netherlands, they have a summer school, and this is their summer school profile. If we had a look at their hashtag list there, you can see they've used some really good large ones. So these are the more general ones: online courses, summer in the city, the Netherlands, Maastricht, and so on. They've got some nice medium ones: Visit Maastricht, Wijk Maastricht. They've got some niche ones, so Maastricht Summer School. Now, why this is a niche is that there are a few other universities and techs in Maastricht, and in theory, they could all have summer schools. So it's not specific just to the Uni Maastricht brand. International education, and then branded, they have Maastricht University. On the right-hand side, you'll see a post that was made by Queen's College. They're a private school in the UK. And they've used a really nice spread of different types of hashtags. So they've got some really large volume hashtags like Teach Our Children, Teach Your Children Well, private schools, This Parent Life, Somerset County, and so on. Medium, they've also got some really good, strong medium volume hashtags: Private Schools UK, Schools in Somerset. I think by now you're sort of getting the feel as to what is sort of medium and large and niche. For Queen's niche, we're looking at Taunton schools, independent schools, UK boarding schools, and then finally their branded ones, which are of course Queen's College Taunton and Queen's College. So I hope that has given you sort of a very kind of surface level but better understanding of why we need hashtags, and also, you know, a few tips on how we should be using them.
I really enjoy that. Why? Because I've battled with it myself. I've sort of never really took the time to really categorize those and sort of see what that mix looks like, and I think it's a really useful tool. I'm assuming this also works well on all of the different social media platforms. They'll have their own kind of
absolutely
nuances,
yeah,
but they're used in the same ways, right?
Exactly. So it's basically applicable across the board. There are a few sort of differences, particularly in how many hashtags sort of optimal for each platform. But other than that, it's more or less the same formula.
Fantastic. Well, so I'm sure we're going to have
some questions. I think I've made Emma now the.
For those that don't know of Emma, she is the founder of Attinger Digital, and I'm really excited because she really does have a lot of expertise in language education and tutoring, and also in this email and social media space. So I'll leave it to you, Emma.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks. Yes, so we talk about how we can use email marketing for student recruitment. So recruiting students to our courses, to our tutoring services. And there are loads of different ways to use it. So actually, I'll first just address, I often get asked, well, how does this have to do with social media marketing? It has lots to do with social media marketing. So I'll show you in a moment as we go through how we can use email marketing to really help us get a return on what we're doing on, be it social media organically, paid social media ads like Herbert was talking about, and through lots of different marketing activity as well. So really email marketing, if you think of it as like the underpinnings for all your marketing activity, and we'll go from there. So ultimately, of course, we're aiming to get our students to sign up to our programs and services. That's what we're here for. That's the ultimate, what keeps our businesses going. So email marketing can help in a really big way with that. I wanted to just start off with just a really simple, straightforward definition of simply what is email marketing, so that there can be some kind of confusion as to exactly what's involved in it. And I'll call on HubSpot here, who are a really globally renowned provider of email marketing software, specifically automated email marketing software as well. And they define email marketing as a means of communicating in a timely, useful and a helpful way to your email subscriber list. So I pull out these three words here because it's something that I have come against before, which is, well, this preconception that email marketing can be a bit spammy, can be a bit annoying, and actually that's not what it is at all. Effective email marketing can really, really be helpful, not only to you growing your business and getting more customers, more students, but it can be really helpful and provide a lot of value to the subscribers on your email marketing list. Because let's not forget, if we're operating in the EU and the UK, these people have opted into our email marketing list. First and foremost, this is them saying, yes, we like your brand, I want to hear more from you. So you're not spamming them, you're not annoying them. It's not a list that you've bought. It's something that they have actively asked you to tell them more about. So that's first and foremost. And it can be really, really effective, and people are definitely not going to be bored of receiving your email marketing. So without further ado, I'll just start with next a couple of statistics, which might surprise you when it comes to email marketing. So it's actually even more widely used daily than social media platforms. So nearly 4 billion people around the world use email daily. And for millennials, so that kind of 26 to 38-year-old brackets, it spans quite a big age bracket. It's the preferred brand communication method for them over and above social media. And this also spans down to younger age groups, right, as well. So as well as talking about the younger parent graphic that we're talking about, that we're talking to and trying to reach, for the student ages as well, it's just as popular as well as we filter down through the age groups, for that really meaningful brand connection. So yes, they want to be seeing on your social channels all the exciting engagement, entertaining content, but then when it comes to making decisions and finding out the crux of what you offer, email marketing is where you want to put a lot of that information. 99% of people using email check them daily. I mean, I'm sure we're all email users here. I personally check mine multiple times a day. It's hard to get away from sometimes at the moment, but that's life today, isn't it? And impressively, marketers using segmented email marketing campaigns, which I'll go into a bit more detail, they can have up to a 760% increase in their sales revenue. So this is again from HubSpot, but it's just as applicable to email marketing automation as to other forms of email marketing. So it's a really, really powerful tool for us to get to grips with. So you might be thinking, well, that all sounds great, but isn't email marketing kind of just, I do a monthly newsletter and isn't that pretty much it? Absolutely, a monthly newsletter or a bi-weekly newsletter is a form of email marketing, of course, but that's not necessarily the most effective form of email marketing when it comes to first making contact with your prospective students and customers. So there are loads of different ways that we can communicate within our email marketing, and these are just some of them. So far from being spammy and salesy and, dare I say, annoying to people receiving our emails, we can use emails to nurture our relationships, to educate them on what we offer, build brand loyalty. An inbox is quite a personal space these days. It's so busy and overcrowded. So if we're making sure that our brand communications, our email communications are providing value, not annoying people, they're giving them information they want to know about and being helpful, that can really go a long way to building this brand affinity, this brand loyalty to your particular business. Equally, it can help with retention. So if you've got a student who's currently been working with you, and they're coming to the end of their course of tutoring or the end of their language course, you can use email marketing to upsell them or cross-sell them on other services and other languages they might be interested in, to extend their tutoring package, for example. Lots of different ways we can use it to keep our current customer base going. And it's a much easier sell to do so than when we're trying to always attract new students. So that can be a really good way to grow our businesses as well with email marketing. If that's not for them and they just want to, finish the tutoring sessions or finish the course with us, then that's fine as well. We can use their input to gather. We can use email marketing, to gather feedback from them. So, how did we perform? Did we match your expectations? How can we improve? And we can feed this back into all of our systems, our marketing, but also our services, what we're offering to them face to face, and that can just help us build our businesses and continually improve as well. Obviously, if you've got any online or hopefully soon in-person events as well, we can signal those as well to our email subscriber list, as well as, of course, new products and services. So there are lots of uses that we've discussed. I just want to pull out two in particular and go into them in a lot more detail. So those are nurturing relationships and educating our audience. And this is where we come back to what I mentioned before with the link through to organic social media marketing, or really any marketing, particularly digital marketing, that we're doing within our businesses. So ultimately, we want to facilitate the moving of our inquiries, of our students and parents through this funnel. So this is an adapted student and parent customer journey funnel, sometimes gone through and called a flywheel as well, as a continuous loop, because as you get to the end with the advocacy, the idea is they'll bring in people back into the top of the loop. So we'll go with the funnel for today. So ultimately, email marketing can be used at any point during this funnel process. We want to nurture them through the journey while educating about their offer, about your offer, sorry. So it's often a joint decision, isn't it, between students and parents, obviously depending on the exact nature of the service that we're offering. But often in education, it's at least influenced by parent and by student, vice versa. So how can we get them to move through this funnel with email marketing? So I've put together a bit of an example just to get you started on how this might look for your business. Okay, so lead magnet is where it starts. So this is simply going to be something that's going to be of value to your target audience, okay? This is the hook that gets them in. Because obviously in order to execute email marketing, we need to have their email address. And ideally their names, we could be a little bit personal, okay? So how do we get hold of their email address? This really valuable asset that people are like, I don't want to give away because I don't want to get spam into my inbox. It's already so overcrowded. We can get hold of it by providing something that's going to be wanted by your target audience, something that's going to be of value, but without giving away lots of what you offer. We don't want to give away anything for free that's going to be detrimental to our services. So for example, this might be, download a list of top tips for maximizing productivity when you're studying, or how to find the right tutor for you, tips for achieving language fluency, all that sort of thing might be, of value, of interest to your target audience. It's something that's going to make them think, I want this, so I'm going to give you my email address in order to get it. And how we capture that is through a lead capture form, which is simply hosted on a page on your website. And it's to that page that we then drive all the traffic. So be it from your organic social media, your social media ads, whatever it might be, that is the URL link that we're going to drive them to. That's where they can get hold of the form. And so from here, this email marketing automation kind of comes into its own. So at least we want to be sending them a thank you email. So straight away, we're thanking them for downloading whatever it is we've given them. We're acknowledging that they've taken the time to hand over their email address and start this relationship with us. And practically, we're probably also going to be sending them the actual download as well, if it's not going to be readily available on screen. So next, we've done the thank you email. We want to continue nurturing our relationship with them. How do we do this? We want to make them aware that our emails are going to be worth opening now. So I should have mentioned as well, on the lead magnet form, we need to be having an opt-in or an opt-out checkbox. So we're making sure we're getting their permission to send them subsequent emails. So after that thank you email, if we've got permission to send them further emails, talking about our offer, maybe building on what we've already started discussing in the lead magnet. So it might be more useful tips related to studying, or how to further your language fluency, or I don't know, something that's going to be building on what you've said in your lead magnet. Ultimately, how your product, how your service will help them achieve their goal, but without yet specifically mentioning your product or service. So giving them a reason to know that our emails are going to be worth opening. So giving them these tips, helping them solve a problem. That's another really good one to include in your value email sequence is, lots of our customers have this problem. Here's how we help them solve it. And it's a bit of a soft sell into your products and offering as well. Next, we're going to be wanting to put our product in front of them, put our service in front of them. So we've told you the ways that we can give you value. We've told you how we can help you solve your problem. Now here is a direct link to sign up so that we can actively help you do so as one of our paying customers. And this is where we start selling in your product as well. You could also, depending on your email marketing sophistication of your platform, of your system, also time involves setting this up as well. You could go into a conditional automation after that. So you can condition it. So if they've clicked on a link to sign up to your course and signed up, completed sign up, that they don't get any more emails from you. If they don't, however, click, then you can say, okay, well, they opened the email, but they didn't click, so they weren't that interested enough to sign up. I need to give them something more to compel them to do so. You might therefore send them an offer, be it financial or something else downloadable that's of value to them to further continue nurturing this relationship. And really where you go after that is up to you. You can get as long and as sophisticated in your email automating follow-ups and workflows as you wish. But as a start, it's a really good one to start with, just having one thank you email, 2 value emails, and a sign up and an offer email. Okay, so that was quite a lot of information. So what happens after that? What if we get to the end of our email sequence, the end of our email marketing sequence, and they just don't sign up? Okay, there could be a myriad reasons why that might be. They might just not be ready right now. They might be looking, a year or 2 in advance, thinking, well, I want to continue talking to this company, but I'm not quite ready to sell just yet. And that's absolutely fine. That's where other forms of email marketing can come in and support the rest of your ongoing activity. So holding emails, I'm going to call them holding emails. This is where your newsletters can come in. You can put them into your newsletter list, make sure you're keeping on updating them on your new products, your services, how great your brand is, how great your company is. You're keeping yourself on the front of their mind, so that when they are ready to make that purchase, they are ready to make that decision, that you're the one they take that with. You might also choose to put them onto another nurture sequence about a related topic, a different language, a different package, different service. It's up to you. I'd also recommend keep checking your insights. As with any marketing, keep checking your insights to see, did this email work? Did lots of people open it? Or did it cause lots of unsubscribes? Because if you're causing lots of unsubscribes, there's something off with the messaging. We don't want to be putting in all the work to get people to download the lead magnet, hand over their email for them then to drop off your mailing list. Because obviously once they've unsubscribed, you can't keep emailing them. So we want to keep looking at what's working for you, what's not working for you, so that you can optimize, so that you can continually improve your process, improve your email marketing, and also feed it back into your services and your products as well.
Hey, that is great, Emma. So what we could do is we could even please make sure that you note down Emma's website there and make sure you stay in touch. But Emma, let's get back into our panel view, and then I think that would be a great occasion to answer some questions. While people are busy tapping in their questions, I was kind of curious if you had any ideas on lead magnets to start off these email marketing sequences. Do you have any kind of thoughts about lead magnets and what seem to still be of value and working in the education sector?
Yeah, I think things like lists and infographics are really, really powerful. I think video is still quite a high value lead magnet, but also it does take time. Obviously, people have to sit and just watch for whether it's a minute or 2 or whatever. Whereas the beauty of an infographic or a list is people, we don't have much time these days. We want the information now, so you can just look, digest, go, yeah, okay, done. So yeah, list and an infographic would be my go-tos.
Fantastic. One of the things that came up in some of our questions here as well is just for people that are really at the starting line with getting email going, it can sort of feel a bit overwhelming. Do you want to just give some advice on like maybe the 1, 2, and 3 to at least get people moving in the right direction, and then they can kind of build that confidence as they go?
Yeah, so I think the first step is obviously finding, the real first step is finding an email marketing platform that's going to work for you. So there are loads of different platforms that provide really useful free tools before you're ready to, and before you need to really make the investment. So like MailChimp's got a really good free one, and Purple Pigeon, something like that. I think Active Campaign is a good one as well. I personally use that one, and Campaign Monitor is particularly good for education. Yeah, and HubSpot, as I mentioned a lot, they do a great email platform, but it does get quite pricey compared to the others as you work up. But
that sounds really good. So I mean, I think the first thing is make sure you're capturing emails in the first place. I think a lot of people forget the importance of those emails. And rather than me describe it, how would you describe how important it is to get that email, even if somebody doesn't purchase at that particular moment?
Yeah, really, really important. You know, you can't follow up with people if you don't have a contact, if you don't have that email contact. So yeah, getting that email is really important. And actually, I should have mentioned before when I was talking about lead magnets, actually, the more expensive a price point that your product is pitched at, the more value that initial lead magnet should give, because obviously you're asking people to hand over a bigger investment. So also take that into consideration, the price point of what you're offering. But yeah, we want to get the email, and then even if they're not going to be, like I said, taking action with our initial automation sequence afterwards, you want to keep it there. Don't let it go cold. Keep talking to them through regular, semi-regular emails, newsletters, and that sort of thing. Because eventually, like I said, they're going to be at the point of buying. And if you're the one that's been showing up in their inbox, giving them value and being present, then you're the one they're much more likely to buy from.
Korinne, you had I think, and I'll start off with one of the questions about hashtags. Sure. I was interested, how do you elegantly use those hashtags? Like, what's the most elegant way to put it? And maybe give us an example, maybe with LinkedIn, which is a different hashtag option, and might help B2B people, and then those in Instagram.
Sure. So for example, you know, as I mentioned before, different platforms have both different allocations, like how many we can actually use. And they also have different sort of, you know, best practice, how many we should use. And I think that's where this whole, you know, using hashtags in an elegant or sophisticated kind of way. So for LinkedIn, there isn't really a limit to how many you can use, but you probably wouldn't want to use any more than 5 would be the absolute maximum. Any more than that, and you start, you know, looking like hashtag festival. So you'd want to use sort of, I tend to go for 3. 1, yeah, okay, but sort of 3 to 5 is where you want to sort of hit for LinkedIn. And when you're using hashtags in LinkedIn, it's sort of it's a more, I don't want to say intelligent, but it's a more sophisticated sort of way of using them. We're not just trying to grab, you know, attention for attention's sake. We're wanting to start a discussion, or we're wanting to support an opinion or a point of view. So you have to be sort of a bit more, you know, if you've only got 3 or if you've only got 5, you have to be sort of a bit more deliberate and a bit more careful with the ones you actually decide to go for, and make sure that they really support whatever content is in the post that you're posting. Instagram, on the other hand, you can in a post use up to 30. Do we want to put 30 hashtags at the bottom of a caption? No, we do not want to do that. That looks not that great. So there are a few ways around that. The sweet spot for Instagram, underneath the caption, we're looking at sort of 5 to 10 max. So that's directly in that caption space. So what do we do with the other 20 to 25? We pop those into our very first comment. So if you pop those into the comment, they do still count. They will still bring people in. They're still giving you that extra reach without making your Instagram post this long and a bit sort of untidy looking.
That makes a lot of sense. Thanks for that. That was a great tip. I've got another question for Emma on email marketing. I think this is a good one. So if someone is teaching, for example, English to French people, should they be writing in French or should they be writing in English?
That is a really good question. So let me get my head around it. They're teaching English to French people. So if you're trying to attract people who need to access your English course to improve their English, I would talk to them in French, because that's what they're most likely going to be understanding. Yeah, I mean, always think about the target of what you're trying to achieve, right? So for example, I know this isn't relevant for today, but I used to work in higher ed and in the UK, and we're talking to people who need a certain level of English in order to access the university courses. So we're talking to them in English, not their native language. But if you're pitching for, say, a beginner level or even an intermediate level English course to French people, go for French, because they're more likely to understand what you're saying.
Makes a lot of sense. And actually, Herbert, you probably have an opinion on this when it comes to advertising. That could be a similar question when it comes to advertising rather than email. Could you tell us about that?
It's basically the same principle. I would totally agree with Emma. Depends on the course that you are promoting. You know, if it's an IELTS exam prep course and you know that someone has to have a certain level of English, then having the ad and the landing page in English is actually a good thing, because you filter out anyone who is not part of your target group.
That's Fantastic. Thank you, Herbert. Now we are almost at the end of our time together. So while I think of something smart to say, Herbert, Korinne, and Emma, why don't you come up with one thing that you would like our audience to go away with and try? Let's start with just one idea that you'd like somebody to try, let's say in the next week, to get people started. Let's start with Herbert, because you're always quick.
I was going to say ladies first, because I still need to think of my idea.
Korinne, do you have one?
I can jump in, just something really simple. So anyone who's with us today who is using Instagram particularly, I want you, next time you post, to head over, before you post, to that search bar, go to the tags, the hashtag, the tags tab, and be a bit more deliberate. Type in some keywords, see which hashtags are suggested, pick some that have got millions of volume, pick some that have got 100, 200 volume, pick a range, and then also don't forget to use hashtag like your school's name or whatever your tutoring company's brand name. Remember your branded hashtags as well, and start sort of trying to use a bit of a mix.
Brilliant. Herbert, is the time here?
Yeah, I mean, my topic was about defining your niche, and I think a lot of schools and tutoring agency companies need to have a bit of a think about, you know, who is their niche and what product are they or course are they promoting to them, and maybe writing down a few ideas, you know, based on some of the strategies that I showed, to really kind of pinpoint that and to maybe test that out, you know, something very specific, yeah, and see what the results are, and of course you can expand on that if it works.
Thanks for that, Herbert. And actually, just as well, just a heads up, if you'd like to learn more about what Herbert's saying, you can catch him on Herbert Gerzer. I also have Korinne. How are people going to catch up with you?
Okay, so I have a lovely difficult name, so I might need to type that down, but they can either find me via my website, so KorinneAlgie.com. I will type that out, or they can contact me on Instagram at KAIE Marketing.
Great. And then we're going to finish with Emma. What would be your one thing that you want you've been the feature event, and we've absolutely loved having you on the Get More Students webinar. What would be the one thing that people can action this week?
I would say go and set up just a simple newsletter sign up on your website. And I say it's simple because a lot of website CMSs just have a newsletter block. You can just drag and drop it onto the bottom of your homepage, and you can just then simply send it to your inbox if you don't have an email marketing set up. It's a really simple way to just start collecting these email addresses, because without them, you can't do your email marketing.
Yeah, so you have to have emails to be able to do it. So yeah. It's couldn't be better said. So thank you so much for joining us, Emma. How are people going to follow and find you as well?
Yes, so my website is www.attinger.com, or you can find me over on Instagram as well. I'm probably most contactable there at Attinger Digital.
Fantastic. And from myself, Alex, at LearnCube, please come check us out at learncube.com. You can try out our free virtual classroom, and we do have an online school. So if you actually have 5 or more teachers and you need something that's really efficient and effective, LearnCube could be for you, and really hope that we get to meet you again. But either way, please subscribe to, check out our YouTube channel, which you're going to see a recording of this particular webinar, and you'll see past webinars. But also be in store for next webinar, which is going to be last Thursday of each month. And we do Get More Students webinar, where we really go through ideas and inspiration around marketing for language and tutoring companies just like yours. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.